Welcome back. You here with Goldberg. Today we'll be talking about how you can find a traditional feminine woman by listening to Este, or is it Este Williamis? She's the hottest thing since a bag of Doritos dumped into a tub of Baja Blast Gatorade with some crack cocaine, so you need to open those listening ears and pay attention. She's on a one-woman quest to teach men how to simp. No, I'm sorry, I meant explain to our wondrous sisters the benefits, the merits of staying within the home and instructing their husbands to live in the doghouse or on the doormats. So this is crucial. It is not many times we get to be exposed to all this. So if you are not ready to learn, I'm afraid I'm going to have to send you in a timeout. All right, this is a serious matter. So I'm wondering if the reason we are seeing this trend, it doesn't seem organic. She popped up. She has not that many followers, but a lot of views. Apparently, she was on TikTok first, but then she ran away because Republicans don't like it because it's controlled by China. By China. I don't care about that. I don't care about Michael Knowles rage pilling at leftists because they attacked her. It's all pretty irrelevant. I wonder if it's not the fact that the liberal state is experiencing an erosion of influence and control, especially over men that don't fit the soy liberal stereotype. And so maybe this is the way they're trying to get guys, oh, don't worry, you'll find a woman like this. You can still work, you can still pay taxes, you can still be a good boy, and we will reward you. So let's take a quick glance at her content and see what she's about. I did disable the audio because I'm not trying to get a copyright strike, but you'll get a general gist of what's going on here. All right, she's got the hairstyle, she's got the makeup. Some people will nitpick about her using a washing machine or driving a car or going to Kroger. I mean, who the hell shops at Kroger anymore, right? But I would more focus on her hairstyle, trying to be like Marilyn Monroe, putting on makeup. You know, she's going for a 40s or 50s housewife aesthetic. She's appealing to nostalgia. And the danger about nostalgia to you young men is that you were never there, so you can assume things about that time period which are not necessarily true. I was reading Malcolm X's biography, and granted, he might have embellished a little bit because he was a pretty extreme racist most of his life, but he's talking about how these guys would go off to fight fascism overseas during the war. And back home, their wife is banging the local bad boy, or she's marrying this guy who has a good job and then giving the money he provides an allowance to her boyfriend on the side. So this was happening. That's more of a city thing, but I'm sure to some extent in the country. So it isn't to say it was all bad. It was probably a more moral society, but just be careful of buying too readily into simply the appearance of people, the way they present themselves, because that can often be manipulation. I'd also like to note that this smiling for the camera, looking pretty all the time, is not in line with the behavior of most of the trad women I've known in real life. So I'm close to a somewhat sizable Mennonite commune, and you'll see the girls out and about shopping. They have very basic dresses, typically solid colors. Their hair is not elaborate like this girl. They wear the little veil. The middle-aged ones are kind of plump. Otherwise, they're relatively slim. Best looking I've seen is maybe a 6 out of 10, but they're not, oh, I'm going to write home to mom about this one. Uh, and then I think once I saw a light-skinned black chick at the library who was also Mennonite. But they are closer to being the real deal than this girl who's trying to showcase her life on the internet. But I wonder if most of these conservative men, the Orthodox, the Tradcath, if they really want the genuine article or they want this fantasy that excites them. I mean, you guys tell me, what do you think? Even there's a small Hispanic grocery store I go and support at times. It's not my regular place to shop, but I want to say it's run by Pentecostals. But the owner, he's always in like a white dress shirt, black pants all the time, which is not really conducive to working with groceries and produce, whatnot. His daughters have very old-fashioned floor-length dresses, and then layers under that. So the only thing you see is maybe their hands and their face, and they're kind of homely, to be honest with you. But that's more of what a trad wife is going to be, as opposed to this, oh, look, I'm so beautiful. Look at me showing off. Whether she is going to have children in future, it doesn't appear right now she does. Uh, who knows? So I'm not hating on the whole thing. There might be some value, but I do think it's a little bit manipulative because it seems to be getting at a male's fantasy more than what women actually need to be or practically can be on a regular basis. As you can see here, she looks like a genuine Barbie doll, and that's why red flags start going off in my mind because I'm thinking, is this not just a form of manipulation to try to lead you back to the soy state in some sense? So at least you pay your taxes like a good little goober boy. And as an aside, I've warned guys about wigtails, about these fake reform chicks, about born again multiple times. They don't want to listen. It's up to them. But there was an image of some meetup that was had with pearly things in the UK. And I was struck by how many Clarences and collard green cells, disproportionately Clarences and collard green cells in the audience posing so happy to be with their queen. Now, if you want to do that as a man, just like the Christians pray, go in a room, turn off the lights by yourself and watch pearly things and smile. But don't go and validate it. Don't subscribe. Don't go to the events like a good simp. And we've heard for years that Ibmore, Sissy Black Manosphere, Black Men with Original MGTOW, and yet what do? No matter how many times Goldberg warns them, they bow down, almost like a Muslim with a prayer mat, to the pancake ass attached to pearly things. And I don't understand this. It's completely illogical. You probably have the ortho bros bowing down to this woman because it fulfills their needs. Whatever, okay? But you should not be proud of it. And let's take a look at why you shouldn't be proud of it in this comment section, because this is precisely what I've been warning people about for such a long time.
I was a single mother for 5 years till I met my husband. It was difficult to switch gears from being head of household to a more submissive homemaker. I appreciate the ability to serve my husband and our family all the more because I had to assume the unnatural role of single mother.
Okay, that's the first one. And look at all the likes that she's getting, of course. Here's another one from Janique Mater.
Becoming a traditional wife after being a single mother for so many years and serving the military. That was definitely been a culture shock in many ways.
Now, you might think this is unfair, okay? But it really strikes me that whenever you see these conservative communities, there is a disturbing number of these chicks who are, oh yeah, I'm coming back for making my mistakes. And who's right in line for them? They've made their mistake with Shag, with Tyrone, and who's in line? Oh, it's that good Christian boy. So I call your attention to this channel, Adam No Eve. He's pretty interesting. He's sort of black pill, sort of MGTOW, sort of everything. And he was a very devout Christian, but now he's rejected that because he believes Christianity is essentially a religion for middle-aged women who are trying to feel better about their bad decisions in life. I don't agree with him on everything, but he's definitely worth checking out a bit. And on that point, it is fascinating because I wonder how many women who are in these conservative churches and raising their children to be the straight and narrow are not essentially just trying to make up for all the bad decisions they made, but they're not necessarily looking out for the well-being of their sons, because they'll raise their sons to be a good little boy who can take care of women like them who have made mistakes. I mean, hell, my mother, I was dating this chick who had a lot of red flags, so definitely not a long-term prospect. She had personal issues, health issues, financial problems, family problems. But my mom's like, oh, she's a nice girl. It's not her fault. You should marry her. I was like, why the hell would I do that? Why would I put myself on the line for someone who I'm basically going to have to bail out for the rest of my life? Of course not. I'm not stupid. That's why you as a man have to be able to have an independent mind, because you'll get guilt tripped into that. Remember that clip of the black pastor going, "You better get off your fat black asses and marry these fine ass sisters of God," single moms. I mean, again, I'm not hating on the kids. It's not their fault. I'm not saying that every instance of a single mom, maybe it's a soldier that died in war. Maybe genuinely he was a totally manipulative narcissist she didn't know. But a lot of the time it's just, I had my fun when I was younger, but I also let him knock me up. And now I want a good boy to pay my bills and take care of me and make me LARP as though I'm a good conservative girl once again. And you see that a lot of these traditional cultures, so-called in the West, they don't really help men. In fact, I knew a guy, he was a Central American descent, but he was pretty tall, decent face. So by the time he was 18, he had already banged a lot of chicks. But when he was 14 or 15, his tios, they took him to the cantina, gave him some cash, and said, "You're going to bang that puta." None of this, "Oh, I'm in love, I have to have true love." It's like, get over that, because that's going to, you're no longer going to have that whole complex or being hung up about, "Oh, I haven't been with a chick, but it has to be perfect." I just read a book by Peter Canez in Hungary when he was 16, did the exact same thing. How liberating it was to just get that over with instead of being caught up in the, you need to have true love and a romance, otherwise it's not legitimate. Oh, you need to do 1,000 approaches like a PUA tells you. I mean, this is very disturbing in many respects. And indeed, much the same could be said about the Muslim community, because on the one hand, you've got Chaddam. He pumps and dumps, he does what he wants. But in the reverse, you encounter Maboob. And the Maboobs of the world are experts on traditional feminine Islamic women that are so much better than these haram booties in the West. And they can quote the hadiths and the surahs and the Quran at the drop of the hat. They know how to get hard for Muhammad. They're totally on fire. But mysteriously, they don't have any women. Yet they're always reference how Islam is a solution. You just got to find yourself a good Muslim girl. And he works hard, Maboob, and he gets his computer programming job. And then he goes to the mosque and he sees Jasmine or Khadijah. And maybe she has a couple of kids, or she's been hanging out with Chad and Tyrone and Chaddam. And he says, "Oh, I've seen you in here before." And she says, "The last time I've been here, I was two." And that's basically it. She's trying to find her backup plan. That's what you got to realize. See, here's a Care Bear who will show you the way. And I'm doing it for free, which is very uncommon for my kind. So I'm just trying to point out, not to say that everything S.J. Williams does is bad if you really want to LARP in some sense, but you got to be careful with the believing too much. You'll see these young men in the comments, "Oh, if I could just find one like you, I'll keep holding out hope." It's like, dude, they exist. But you're going to have to realize they're probably not going to look like a model. You go to the Orthodox churches, most of them are old women and young copers, male. Maybe Catholic churches, you have a better chance. Or, like I said, if you go to trad communities like Mennonites, you don't need to go to the Philippines. Eastern Europe, most of them are not actually traditional, by the way. So that's the thing. And if you're Muslim as well, you got to be careful with this stuff. You got to really do your vetting properly, because some of these chicks, they'll pull the rug out from under you because they know that you've been taught, just like the Christian guys, "Oh, you have to be a good boy. You have to, it's not her fault. She can always come back to the fold, and then you can deal with her problems for the rest of your life."